Hey everyone, it's sysadmin Sean here, and today we're going to talk about something that all IT people deal with, and that is being the support person for any possible device in your workplace. If it plugs into the wall, IT is usually responsible for it in some form or fashion. So when you work in usually smaller environments, or places where they have maybe a tech coordinator and there's a larger IT group, but you work sort of separate from that large IT group. You support like a specific department or a specific user group, something like that. You might get asked to maintain anything that plugs into the wall or uses electricity in general. That could be the refrigerator, the coffee machine, the computers, which is the one you're supposed to be working on, things like projectors, and that might actually fall under IT if you don't have AV people. Fireplaces, that's one that I've heard folks had to work on before. And even toilets, because they have automated flushers and they figure IT can fix pretty much anything. And the reason I bring this up and why this is a struggle is a lot of people don't feel like they need to do these things, and they really don't, because it's not really part of your basic job duties. It's not the reason you got hired. You got hired to maintain an IT infrastructure or maintain desktops and laptops and things of that sort. And yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt. So why I'm talking about that is I've done it to myself, and I think all IT people kind of become their we fix everything at home individual. And mine is keyboards. So I've gotten into mechanical keyboards and really actually, building them, as opposed to buying something from a vendor that's already, like from Razer or from Corsair or HyperX or any of those folks. And I've started looking at parts. I found out that apparently you can get hot swappable keyboards, where you can change out the switches and change out, and I knew you could change out keycaps, but being able to change out switches and you don't have to do all the soldering, very cool. So I picked up this lovely little device, as you can see right here. I really dig this keyboard. It's really amazing. I will have affiliate links in the description. It's called an EPOMAKER TH80 Pro. I'm using, I forgot the name. There are heavy switches that are very clacky, and yeah, I dig it. But so when you're putting one of these keyboards together, you have to push the switches into the sockets so that they make a connection. And if you don't do it right, you either bend the switch or break the socket. And that's what happened specifically on this one. So I made this video to kind of show you what happened and everything I had to do to fix it. And that kind of ties into this whole like, oh, everything I do in the IT world ends up being something electrical, and I'm gonna have to fix it anyway. So I might as well learn how to fix everything so that when people ask me, I can just get it done and move on with my life. So stay tuned and enjoy this wonderful video about how I resoldered a keyboard. Here's my multimeter. I set it to conductivity mode so I could test the leads to find out exactly where I needed to solder. And here's the mess I made on the keyboard. You'll notice that I've sucked up a bunch of solder that I made a mess with, and ignored those sunglasses. But essentially I tried to do the wiring and it didn't take using just the switch. So you can see I completely ruined this switch, and I decided to put in a new socket from here. And now here's where I'm laying out the socket, tinning the wires, adjusting the connections so that when I go for a final solder, everything's in the right place and everything looks correct here. And big thumbs up. And then here's the final solder. So as you can see, it's really just jumping from one socket to the next, and then off to the next from there. And then the top area goes to that little resistor. And that's it. And that's about it. So we got our keyboard fixed. Everything's working now. It's fantastic. All the keys work. I am a little nervous about some of those solder joints because it's been a long time since I've soldered. I usually only solder guitars, so that's a big difference for me. But otherwise, it's been working great, and I'm keeping it here at home, so I know I'll always be able to fix it if it breaks again, like in the middle of the day. But thanks again. Big thanks to my Patreons who are scrolling across the screen right now. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.